The fashion industry is a hard place to break into, even if you are gorgeous by conventional standards. Thankfully, as time goes on, we are starting to see a shift in the industry's definition of beauty. Because of this, there is a diverse group of men and women standing out from the pack and showing the world what beauty means to them. If you are new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe, and please give this video a big thumbs up. Today, we are revealing 10 most unusual models in the fashion industry. Just wait until you see one special girl who is bringing her culture to the runway and taking the fashion industry by storm. Stay tuned to see her story. Alba Paraiso. Growing up in Barcelona, Spain, it was obvious that Alba Paraiso was not like the other kids. That's because she suffers from a giant congenital nevus and has 500 moles across her body. She is basically covered head to toe with dark birthmarks and moles. When she was younger, doctors were afraid her moles were cancerous, and she had over 30 surgeries to remove some of them. Sadly, this has left her severely scarred, which is most apparent when you look at her legs. Though many reports claimed she was bullied growing up, Paraiso says that wasn't exactly the case. She had a good support system of friends, but it was people outside her school that didn't understand why she looked so different. She decided it was time to take a stand for her body positivity. The teen entered a local modeling contest to be the face of her community mall. She became a finalist, and when asked why she wanted to be the winner, she shared her story. That was enough to convince the judges, and Paraiso scored her first big modeling job. She is now focused on spreading her positive body image message through social media. She is also working with photographers to expand her portfolio. She isn't sure she wants to take the fashion industry by storm, but she is happy to be an inspiration to others going through similar situations. Khadija Diop. It's no secret that there is a lack of diversity in the fashion world. Thankfully, times are changing, and one of the people paving the way for an all-accepting standard of beauty is Khadija Diop. Born and raised in Senegal, Diop was exposed to a world where bleaching your skin was normal. In fact, 25% of dark-skinned women bleach their skin to be lighter. She never tried it herself, but the thought of wanting to be lighter did cross her mind. This was mostly because she felt like everyone was looking at her dark complexion in a bad way. It wasn't until she went to Milan as a teenager with her sister that she understood how special she is. While walking through the streets of Milan, she saw her reflection in a mirror. It was there that she saw she stood out in a sea of people who blended in. She eventually went to Paris and started modeling and never looked back. Diop started making a name for herself after she was featured in the viral The Colored Girl Project campaign in 2015. Since then, she has become somewhat of a social media sensation with hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram alone. It's easy to see why, because the woman is gorgeous.
We are very excited to show you our new platform, The Premium. Get early access to thousands of videos from your favorite channels, including The Taco, The Things, The Trendy, and The Richest. It's all in one place with ad-free browsing. Sign up for The Premium for free and get ready to binge watch just one more video.
Rain Dove. Meet Rain Dove. She is a relative newbie to the fashion industry, but that isn't keeping her from making a huge splash. Growing up in Vermont, Dove never realized she looked any different from her girlfriends. In fact, it wasn't until she became a firefighter that she even knew people thought she looked masculine. At 6'2", with broad shoulders, it is easy to make that assumption. She was confronted with this when her fellow firefighters asked her to start rating other girls with them. That is when she found out they thought she was a man, and for the next 11 months, she went along with it. She has even used her androgynous looks to her advantage by scoring better-paying jobs in male-dominated fields like construction and landscaping. It was actually never her dream to become a model. She lost a bet and went to a Calvin Klein underwear casting call. Did we mention that the casting call was for the men's campaign? Since then, Dove has walked in both men and women's runway shows. She is even using her social media to bring awareness to gender neutrality. She posts photos in male and female versions of the same outfit and claims that her clothes don't define her gender. Yasmina Rossi. Thanks to modern medicine and technology, people are living longer than ever. And just because someone is older, it doesn't mean they aren't any less desirable. Sadly, it seems like the fashion industry hasn't quite caught on to that thought. That doesn't mean there aren't people out there trying to shake this pattern of age discrimination. Yasmina Rossi is a gorgeous grandma in her 60s who isn't afraid to bear it all for the camera. Rossi started modeling when she was 28 years old, which is around the time that seasoned models start to retire. It wasn't until she was 45 that she got her big break, and thanks to her unique white locks and gorgeous skin, she hasn't slowed down. When it comes to her beauty routine, it's quite simple. She claims that her flawless glow is thanks to one simple product you probably have at home: olive oil. The model rubs olive oil on her face every day and makes a scrub with olive oil and sugar once a week for good measure. She also tries to maintain a healthy diet and swears by eating an avocado every day. She attributes her great shape to windsurfing and Bikram yoga. We have to say, it's all totally paying off because she is one gorgeous grandma. Sara Gertz. If the fashion industry is already ageist, then what happens when women are young but age prematurely? That is exactly the question Sara Gertz intends to confront with her impressive modeling career. When she was just 10 years old, Gertz was diagnosed with a disorder that slows down the process of her skin making collagen. This disorder makes her skin sag and gives the appearance that she is much older than her real age. She was always insecure about her appearance, but after a rough breakup when she was 22, she decided to love the literal skin she's in. She now draws inspiration in the rarity of her disorder and thinks the patterns her skin makes is a form of art. She isn't the only one, because the model is slowly gaining some attention thanks to her story going viral on the internet. With the goal of becoming a model who battles the world's beauty standards, Gertz has relocated to Los Angeles. It's there where she hopes to encourage others to accept what makes them unique and gorgeous. She even hopes to become the face of her disorder so she can help other people who are similar to her. We love her message and can't wait to see the impact Gertz and her story have on what it means to be beautiful. Pando Hopa. Growing up with albinism isn't easy, especially in Africa. In the country of Tanzania, where 1 in every 1,400 people are albino, it is a real problem. Thanks to the lack of education about the genetic condition, albino people have become victims of attacks and are thought to be bad luck. Luckily, Pando Hopa was raised in South Africa, where she heard these stories but never had to deal with the abuse. Sadly, it was apparent that she was different from the other kids at school. She never dreamed of becoming a model. In fact, she thought the profession was quite shallow. But in 2012, a local designer changed her mind when he convinced her to pose in his designs. Hopa, who is actually a lawyer, agreed and surprised herself with her newfound talent. By 2013, she was on the cover of the first Forbes Life Africa. Thanks to her condition, her eyesight isn't so great. She has to read with a magnifying glass, and she isn't allowed to drive. This obviously makes for a difficult time on the runway, but she doesn't let her eyesight hold her back. Though she isn't a household name, Pando Hopa is still breaking beauty standard molds, and we can't get enough of her. Lakshmi Saw. Being the victim of a heinous crime doesn't have to define you. No one knows this better than Lakshmi Saw. She went through a literal nightmare when she was only 15 years old. What provoked the attack is even more disturbing. When she was a teen, India-born Saw declined the proposal of a man 17 years her senior. Not being able to deal with the rejection, the man attacked Saw by throwing acid on her, leaving her horribly disfigured. Sadly, this isn't an uncommon occurrence in India. Because of this, Saw has become one of India's most outspoken advocates against the unregulated sale of acid in her country. Thankfully, she hasn't let this attack define her or her beauty. In 2016, an Indian apparel line made Saw the face of their Face of Courage campaign. The then 26-year-old model for the fashion line had become an example for other women in her situation. She also wants to show the criminals who partake in acid throwing that they won't take away their victims' power by doing so. They are still beautiful and still strong, and there is nothing these people can do to take away their strength and confidence. All we have to say is, you go, girl. Knockin Gatwick. Thanks to the internet, we are finally seeing diversity in the fashion industry. Women of all shapes, sizes, and color are becoming the new standards of beauty. One of those women is the gorgeous Knockin Gatwick. Originally from South Sudan, Gatwick now lives in Minnesota and keeps her Instagram stocked with her stunning photo shoots and inspirational quotes. She even shared a disheartening story about an Uber ride she had in 2016. In the story, Gatwick revealed that her Uber driver actually asked her if she would bleach her skin for $10,000. Though he said he meant no harm by the question, he was met with only laughter from the stunning model. She shut him down and told him she wasn't touching the skin she was blessed with. We don't blame her because we think she is perfect just the way she is. Gatwick now calls herself the Queen of the Dark, which seems like a fitting name for the goddess-like model. She hasn't been on the fashion scene for long, so it will be interesting to see just how far and where her career will go. We can't wait to see what she has in store, and we couldn't be happier that she loves the beautifully pigmented skin she's in. Remco and Van Der Linden. It is one of the only industries in the world that is dominated by women. Thankfully, that isn't holding this unusual father and son duo, Remco and Odd van der Linden, from taking over the fashion industry. Remco started modeling in the 90s when he was still in his 20s. In that time, he's worked for major brands all over Europe, including Jaguar and Nivea. He had no idea that just 20 years later, in 2016, his father would join him as a model at the age of 70. In fact, Odd had no idea himself. Sadly, Odd wasn't always the happy-go-lucky man you see today. After a tragic car accident in his home village, he became quiet and shut out from the world. At the age of 69, he decided it was time to get help. Odd got EMDR, or eye movement desensitization, and reprocessing therapy, and it completely changed his life. After Odd went on vacation with Remco, who had a photo shoot during that time, Remco convinced his dad to pose in a few pictures, and the results were stunning. Originally, the photos were only going to be for personal use, but when he uploaded them to social media, he got a huge response. Within 2 months, the father and son booked their first photo shoot together, and the rest is history. Halima Aden. It is unusual for hijab-wearing women to see other women like themselves in fashion magazines. Thankfully, the times are changing and more cultures are being accepted into the mainstream media. Halima Aden is the first hijab-wearing model to be signed with IMG Models. She made her fashion runway debut in Kanye West's Yeezy Season 5 collection. The young model has even walked for high-profile clients like Max Mara and Alberto Ferretti. Her appearance in these shows became so controversial that it actually made headline news. The now model got her first taste of the industry when she entered the Miss Minnesota USA pageant. During the entirety of the competition, she wore her hijab and even dressed in a modest swimsuit during the portion of the contest. Though she didn't win, it was because of her participation in the pageant that she has her modeling career. After the competition, legendary editor Corrine Reutefeldt reached out to Aden. Reutefeldt wanted the young woman to fly to New York for her first photo shoot that would appear in the editor's CR fashion book. Aden took the editor up on her offer and hit the ground running as the fashion industry's newest gorgeous face. Which one of these models shocked you the most? Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe to The Taco.